probably been about 3 weeks since I shot anything for the garden blog. I have something else. I've got a few different projects I'm working on, and I've been through some personal stuff, which I won't bother you with, but it's now, let's see, May 18th at almost 2:30. Let's take a look at the tomato plant. Let's just do the regular update, and then I got a couple of new things to show you. So here's what the tomatoes are looking like. A number of them have popped and ripened, and if you look way at the top there, I don't know how well you can see it, I've got some new flowers developing. I'm going to have to, there's even some right there, I'm going to have to get this thinking. I'm going to make sure I water this today. Let's take a look at the big planter. You can kind of see how things are progressing. It's been a little warm, so the lettuce, the greens have not been doing quite so well. We'll take a look at the melon patch, and it looks like it's all basically the lemon drops. I think I got one of the canary melons in there, but we'll see if that turns into anything. Behind that you can see one of the geraniums, one of the royal geraniums is doing nicely. I haven't done too much else around here. The chard, really, I should be picking that. It just kind of keeps wilting, and then I bring it back, and ooh, something's eating it. That's not good. What was that? The Pac-Man broccoli. I don't know how well you can see it, but some of the seed pods have turned brown, so I'm going to harvest them soon. Let's see. Oh, the yellow pear tomato is doing nicely. It's starting to grow. Most of the rest of it's just kind of dying or not so good. I have been watering in the midst of everything, but I'm starting to try and get back to my actual gardening. So I'm going to go ahead and water these, but first let me show you the rest of what's going on around here. So out here at the nursery, we've got, you can kind of see how the plants are progressing. These are mostly the nasturtium in the first 3 pots. We got some zinnia. Actually, that next one doesn't look so healthy, and a morning glory. So I pulled a couple of them out and put them down there. I can pull one more out, and I got a little bit of a surprise. I may end up reusing some of those. You see the tree not really showing much. Actually, wait a minute. It looks like there might be a little bit of some new. Actually, yeah, there's some new growth there. It's not dead. It's coming back. So we'll let that grow. What was this? This was the, I'll think of it in a minute, but the small little seeds, and they just haven't done anything. So up above, the lilies are doing okay. Not great, but okay. They may survive the sun. That'll be a good thing. Coming around, what was in here is pretty much dead, and I'm probably going to take that morning glory and put it in there. I've got the 2 vines growing nicely. We've got our red tree, or whatever that is. We got the nasturtium growing very nicely here. You can see the nice colors on those. We've got more nasturtium. Oh wow, we've got a major pop of yellow here. So we're doing good there. The Nandina doesn't look like anything's going to happen, so I may end up tearing that one out. I can replace it fairly easily. Plus we got a ton of it right over there. We've got another nasturtium up here which is starting to yellow on me, which concerns me, but he gave me some nice flowers. I just got to make sure I water it. Coming around the side of the building, or the back of the building, I'll show you what we've got for nasturtiums. So that one's doing okay. We got these interesting sort of pastel colors on this one, and it's growing down low, so I'm probably going to have to cut that off, which I think I said I was going to do 3 weeks ago, but didn't. Coming around, we got the other 2 nasturtiums growing nicely, growing sort of a yellowish orange on the left, almost a rust. I think I actually called that brown, and I'll explain that in a minute. And I got some red over here. Not much has happened over here, except that the city was offering, in conjunction with the local waste management company, free compost. So picked that up last weekend. I got 30 gallons. That was their limit. So that's what all that dirt is that you see there. That's it for over here. Actually not. I just discovered that the ground cover stuff that I was about ready to get rid of is growing these nice red flowers on it. So almost a violet color. So we'll see what I do with that. And so under the stairs, the elephant ears aren't really doing all that well. I'm going to have to figure out what to do with those. Like I said, there's been a bit of distraction. I'm trying to get back to things, but these weren't a high priority. I may even just move the planters out because there's just not much sun under here. So over on the north end, you can kind of see what these look like, and I kept saying I was going to plant more in this one pot. I haven't done that yet. Let me swing around here and show you how these all look. And the one of the most interest would be the nasturtium over here, which looks like it's mostly drying up. So it's going to be a matter of getting it some more water. I have been watering, but apparently not enough. And I haven't fertilized in a couple of weeks. So that's it for the regular update. So here's the first thing I wanted to show you, was I've been saving the nasturtium seeds. And let me see if I can't kind of get you in a little bit closer. So you can see now, when I mentioned before that I was talking about brown, basically I classified these as brown, red, orange, and yellow, because those tend to be the colors. I've laid out the seeds that I've harvested so that they will dry out. I don't know how well you can see that. I've managed to, actually some of them are already dried out. Actually these look like they're almost there. But there's one more thing. I just ordered something and it just arrived in the mail. So let me see if I can't actually open up my little package here. Let me just show you my package. That didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. I received, yeah, I think you can kind of see that. And what's interesting is how it's packed, because I was expecting it to have maybe some holes in the top. I'm opening it up as I speak here. Try to open up carefully so I don't hurt anything. That's that. It came priority mail. Came from Ohio all the way here to Southern California. And let's see what we've got here. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Let's see if I can't still keep it in frame for you. So we've got just a regular box. And you might see something kind of peeking out there. I was a little curious how they would do this. So let's get rid of the peanuts and hope they don't all go blown away. But I want to very carefully unpack this. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue removing peanuts and I'll come back to you in a second. So here's what we have. Here's what was in that box. Believe it or not, this is 4 Imperial Star artichoke plants. I've read the instructions briefly, and it recommends that I harden these off before I actually go to transplant. And I had a larger sort of plan that I was going to try and implement this week, but since they're recommending that I harden them off, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's going to take a couple of weeks. I'll give you progressive updates as we go along, and eventually then I'll show you where I'm planning on planting these. Actually, I've got a place for 3 of them. This is 4 of them, so I've got to figure out where to put the 4th. And actually in the hardening off, I might find that I lose one, I don't know. So it's actually a good thing to have an extra. So that's it for today's update, and I'll try and give you more regular updates, maybe a little bit before I actually get to publishing all of this and posting it online. But in the meantime, I have something else I'm working on, which I think I can show you as it's a garden, but on a really grand scale. So we'll see what we can do. Until next update. Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's now May 22nd at a little past 2 p.m. I wanted to give you an update, and actually most of it's going to be out in the courtyard, but let's sort of quickly cover the basics. You can see I've got quite a few tomatoes growing here, which is good. I'm enjoying them. Just gave my neighbor a few. That feels good. Over in the window is where I decided to put the artichokes. I don't know how well you can see that. I could probably give you a better view, but I'm going to just make this quick for now. I'm trying to toughen them up before I actually get to the transplant. I'm also actually recovering from a bout of sciatica. So I'm amazed at how much I actually got done today. I may be paying for it tomorrow, but just to sort of give you an idea what the rest of the patio looks like. Now let's go outside and see where the real work is. So I came out today with the intention of maybe updating a couple of pots in the nursery. One thing led to another, and I did quite a bit of work. Let's see what we've got. A couple other plants just weren't succeeding too well, so the first 3 pots have no labels, but I know that the second and the third are nasturtium, so that doesn't really bother me. The first one I think is also supposed to be nasturtium, but there's some other odd plant growing in there. And before I get to the others, I'll actually show you. I've got, I don't know how well you can see this, but there are leaves actually, let me see if I can try and get it better. There we go. Leaves actually growing on this plant here. And that's one of the pots down below that I took out of play. But I put a lot more back in. And these are all 522. So we've got a couple of pots now with 4 o'clocks. We've got a couple of pots now with Morning Glory, the blue and then the red. And I got a couple more pots here where I'm trying the basil again. The difference in all of these pots now is what I did was I took that compost, that beautiful compost that I got for free, 30 gallons of it, and I took it and I mixed it 50-50 with the existing soil that was in some of these pots. So I'm sort of extending it, but also giving the soil quite a bit of nutrients. So it's 50-50 in each one of these pots, basically all the way up to where the little indentation is there. It's 50-50, and then beyond that it's pure compost. That way the seeds are basically encapsulated in compost. That'll give them a really good head start. And then as the root system develops, I think some of the nutrients from the compost on the top will drain down into the 50-50 soil beneath it, and that way it'll, as it drains down, it'll kind of keep up with the roots. At least that's my theory. I'm hoping that'll work. At least growing in pure compost as opposed to cheap dirt, that should give all these seeds a much better chance. Now, while I was at it doing all of this, I emptied a couple of the pots out, and they are now sitting in the white pot, which is over here. So we've got 2 zinnias growing up kind of in the middle there. I don't know how well you can see it. And I've got 2 Morning Glory plants. That's why it's not blooming right now. And I put in a couple of bamboo stakes to give them something to climb up. So I may move the pot around or something, but basically that's the plan. Hopefully what will happen is as the zinnias get taller, the Morning Glory will start to climb around the zinnias, and then eventually I can just pull out the stakes and it'll all be a completely natural trellis. But since there was something in the white pot, what did I do with that? That was the Nandina. That was just looking like nothing was going to happen. I've actually put it over here. And actually I have one more thing to do, is to actually cut it way back. I'm going to cut it down to like 1 inch above the soil or something like that. I've read about it, so I'm going to read about it again just to make sure how far down to cut it. But it's in a very short pot. It's not a whole lot of room for the roots to grow, but basically in that huge white pot, when I pulled the plant out, the roots hadn't gotten any bigger. So something was just wrong. I guess there was no nutrients or something. So now we've got really heavy nutrients, and we'll see what we can get. So it may not sound like all that much, but it actually took me a good 3 hours to do all of what I just told you about. So that's the major update for today. I'll skip the north courtyard, and I'll probably cover that tomorrow or the next day.